It's interesting that the term really came from the Air Force. And situational awareness was, if you think of a pilot being aware of everything else that's going on around them. They're looking at the weather patterns, they're looking at other airplanes that are in the sky, they're looking at what's in their way if they want to take off or run or land, they're looking at any type of birds or other flying objects that may be in the air, they're understanding the turbulence that is out there, they're understanding if there are any storms that are coming. So there is a lot of different situational awareness elements. So really, when we look at situational awareness, what we're talking about is the ability to identify those critical elements of what's happening around your area of responsibility, and then also understanding how that may impact your own organization's mission execution. So really, you're saying, what do I care about that may affect my operations, my organization's operations, my constituencies' operations? So we're thinking about being aware of all the different things that are going on around you. And then out of that awareness, being able to identify what are those dangerous elements, what are potential threats. So that's kind of the focus of cyber situational awareness. And we'll take a little bit more of an in-depth look at that. But really, it's being aware of what is all going on around you. And it's not just technical in nature. That's kind of the interesting thing about situational awareness as it applies to cyber incident management. Very often, we associate situational awareness with another idea that came out of the Department of Defense. So what's referred to as the OODA loop, or Observe, Orient, Decide, Act. Now you probably can see how this fits in with situational awareness, because that observation part is really being aware of what's going on around you in your environment, observing that, and then understanding, orienting those observations as to how it impacts your own operations, what type of, and in our case for cybersecurity, thinking about those potential threats or dangers, as we mentioned before, and then saying, what am I to do in reaction to these threats or to these dangers? Deciding what actions to take, and then executing those actions. So that's really what the OODA loop talks about. So you can see, again, how situational awareness fits right into that approach. Many people like the Observe, Orient, Detect, Act, Decide, Act process rather than Prepare, Protect, Detect, and Respond. So it's just another way to look at the activity that has to be done to preserve your own organization and critical assets. It's also interesting that situational awareness is a concept that goes beyond technology. We see situational awareness show itself in many different disciplines, whether it's being aware when you're out on the street walking, maybe walking from a store or walking to your car, and people say, look around, be aware of your surroundings. See if there's anyone lurking in the shadows. Is there anyone underneath the car in the parking lot? Is there anyone behind the seat? Be aware of suspicious characters. So we see it show up in just normal self-defense situational awareness. We see it in driving. If you're driving a car and you need to be aware of what you're doing, but you also need to be aware of the cars behind you. You need to be aware of the cars to your side, the cars in front of you, maybe the cars coming in the opposite direction, what's on the side of the road, the condition of the road, the condition of any weather patterns, where there might be accidents and you might have to stop. So situational awareness, we can see how important it is to the operation of a vehicle. It can also be just being careful in any type of environment that you're in. It's a funny one of these pictures here on the side shows of someone swimming with a shark behind them. So again, being aware of what type of sharks are in the water surrounding your own organization, its critical assets, and also your incident management operations. And the reason that we point this out is because we're going to take a look at some of the elements of situational awareness and talk about the fact that they're not all technical in nature. Situational awareness is only one of many functions that might be performed by your information assurance, IT group, and your incident response group or your incident management capability. And we can often see that there are overlap of some of the elements of situational awareness with some of the other functions we've talked about. So there are things we might talk about with detect as far as reactive and proactive detection, vulnerability scanning, threat intelligence, pen testing, things like that that may be different ways to gain situational awareness. Network monitoring even. So these are some technical functions that we're looking at. We talk about technology, keeping up with technology. Those are other elements that may overlap. So probably situational awareness hits and feeds into many of the processes within the incident handling lifecycle. And sometimes we're looking at situational awareness as real-time, short-term function, what's happening now, but that's not always the case. There are some things we're looking at that may be longer term. So we have to keep that big picture as we're understanding what's happening and what that may lead to in the future. So even though we're usually dealing with things that are currently happening, maybe short term and its effect, we also need to be able to plan for future events by keeping up with situational awareness in those things that affect our organization. So now let's get into those elements of awareness that I was mentioning, that some are technical, some are not technical. And let's start off on the non-technical. Now we're really starting to take a look at what the incident management function needs to be aware of, those elements that they need to handle and how that can impact the organization. So here we have a list of the non-technical and technical. We have slides that will follow that will go into each one of these in depth. So I'm not going to go through and explain each one of them now. We'll talk more about them on each slide. But notice that even environmental awareness, even media show up as non-technical. And of course, with the technical elements, we see things that we talk about often in incident management: threats and vulnerabilities, keeping up with technology advancements and trends, understanding your network architecture. All those different types of things feed into awareness, situational awareness for our organization and its incident management function.